everyone. I know that you guys have a lot to submit this week, and with your intercultural communications plan, I just want to clarify some things. So, I did make a post and go over kind of all of the main points that I'm expecting from the assignment, but I wanted to go ahead and do a recording as well. So, the big thing is I want you guys to pay attention to kind of who you are in writing this plan. So we have a merger between a Chinese company and an American company. So the Chinese are going to have very, very different communication preferences than the Americans. So we're bringing these two companies together, and now they're realizing, oh, there are some issues. Those specific issues are talked about within the case study, and those are some things that you're going to need to bring up in your paper. You'll look at collectivism versus individualism, direct versus indirect speech, high versus low context, power distance. All of those things are going to make you need to change your plan based on which company you're talking to, or which side of the company. So, the idea behind this is that you are the communications director, but you are working with the person in charge of diversity, equity, and inclusion to announce an upcoming DE&I training. So you are not developing training, you're not solving, all of the problems that have come from a merger. You are announcing the launch of this upcoming DE&I training. So with that, you are going to describe in your communication plan what are some of those issues. So we just talked about that. They are also listed within the case study. You are going to identify exactly who the stakeholders are. So who is impacted by not only this merger, but who is going to be impacted by this DE&I cross-cultural training. Why is the training happening? So make sure you are very specific when you are talking about that. Then you're going to talk about cultural context and, like we were just saying, Hofstede's dimensions. So look at the differences between the two cultures, and then we get into the actual communication plan. So you need to talk about the audience. So who are the stakeholders? Who's being impacted? What are 3 to 5 key messages? So for these messages, I can't stress this enough, they need to each be 150 words or more each, okay? And these messages are going to be exactly what you would say to the group of employees announcing this upcoming cross-cultural training. So if you are going to send an email, what's that email going to say? Think about if you would send an email to both the Americans and the Chinese employees. Can you change the tone of the email based on cultural preferences and explain why? So be thinking about those things, and you can make small adjustments that make a really big impact when you are communicating to two different cultures. So you're also going to talk about the goals. So why are we communicating this? What are some of the issues? What do you want to overcome? And you'll have your strategies, which is, based on these cultural preferences, I am doing XYZ. Sorry, my dog is barking. You will talk about communication tools. So as you are announcing this upcoming cross-cultural training, are you going to have print materials? Are you going to put things on the intranet? Are you going to post to social media? Are you going to send email? Who will send those emails? Who will be responsible for any of these announcements? It's probably not just one person, and it might be different based on the two cultures. Keep that in mind. Explain why you would choose one type of communication tool versus the other based on that culture. And then what type of on-ground activities. So as you are coming up with this plan for announcing the training and hosting the training, what type of on the ground activities are you going to have? Are you going to have meetings with management? Are you going to have employee events, bring them together for the training? Would you want to do things hybrid? So yes, there is a good amount that goes into this, but always be thinking of how you can justify what you are communicating based on the culture. And then the last thing, and again, I can't stress this enough either, make sure that you have a visual timeline. So there are a couple of examples of what type of timeline you can use. You can use a Gantt chart. You can Google those and just pull some up. You can put it into Excel, but make sure that you are clarifying what the specific activity is, who it's going to impact, who's responsible for it, all of those things. And they are listed within the assignment, and they are also listed within the rubric. So as you're going through, pay attention to those things as well. Also, obviously, this all needs to be in APA 7th edition formatting, like all of our papers, and we'll use Turnitin. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. This is a big paper. You will then present on this in week 6. So I want to make sure that you get this right, and this will be my priority for grading since you'll have to turn around and give presentations. So I hope that this helps, but like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Have a good night.